Hello, welcome back to episode 22 of the Megan Dauber podcast. I am Megan and I am here sharing more of the story of what happened post-accident for Michael and living with his subsequent brain injury, and sharing just what life is like, has been like. And these next few episodes, as I was just kind of mapping them out in my mind on my paper, they're interesting and heavy. And I've had a couple conversations recently with people who were like, yeah, I can't, like, this is heavy stuff, isn't it? And I can't listen to your podcast because it's heavy. And that's totally fine. I get it. And everything within me wants to be able to be lighthearted and just point you to joy and all the goodness and have happy reports to give you. Like, that's how I want to show up. Like, I desire that, but that would not be true to the story, and that would not be fully transparent. There absolutely are good things happening, and I hope you hear me sharing those experiences on here. But to say that this show is heavy, like, yeah, it is. And that's my life and my kids' life and Michael's life, and it is heavy. And this is not, it's not the place for happy storytelling right now, but I still am holding hope that that is the direction it will go, right? I don't know the future. I don't know how this ends. Like, let me be clear. I am still very much in the middle of this. There is no ending to this story. There's no ending to any of our stories until we're finished with life, right? So I am literally walking you through what we have already experienced, with the thought that I'm going to keep telling you things as they unfold. And I have hope that there will be good and not so heavy things to share. But we've got to recognize that what I'm talking about here is grief and sadness, and there is pain and heaviness in this. And again, you are invited to join me here. You absolutely do not have to. If it's ever too much for you, like, I get it. And that's okay. Go find something happy to listen to. And sometimes we all just need that. But back to why I originally started this, like, I am documenting this journey for myself, for Michael, for the kids, so that we will remember it forever. Because as time is going on, like, things are getting fuzzy for my memory as well. So this is, again, this like live journaling that I am sharing with all of you, also because I do think it is helpful to share our stories, right? One of you reached out to me on Instagram, and you were saying just like, thank you for sharing our journey, because you said, your story becomes someone else's roadmap. And like, I loved that, because I hate that someone else will have to go through pain and suffering, but grateful that any bit of my sharing can help offer you a roadmap. Like, I'm here for that, right? Okay, so let's get into what I'm going to share today. We are July of 2024, so last summer. So we are seeing therapists consistently, but therapy is not, they're not his doctoral care team, right? Therapy is pretty much all we can do to help his brain injury deficits at this point. But that's the world of physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, right? We also have a primary care physician, cardiology, and at that time last year, we no longer saw any neurologists. Sorry, can't say that word. After we came home from Shepherd's, because Virginia Beach is not a hot spot for brain injury docs and neurologists. So there aren't many available. Our appointment from April 2024, when we were discharged from Shepherd Center, our appointment with the first neurology team was May of 2025. So we got home and I had to wait an entire year to get any help from neurology. I go back and forth. Is there anything they can actually do? Didn't seem like it. So in a way, okay, fine. But also, how ridiculous that I had to wait a year. Michael had to wait a year to go in and just be followed up on. So there was a virtual follow-up from the Shepherd Center. So once they sent us home, I think a month in, and then again 3 months in, we had a virtual sit down with a doctor from the Shepherd Center and like a check-in. But I mean, it's a virtual appointment, and Michael like physically is doing well. They want to make sure he's doing okay in the medications, but it's all just like telling him our experience. Well, me telling them Michael's experience, because Michael couldn't really give feedback on it. So that is happening. It's like, again, that analogy of being sent home from the hospital with a newborn and you're like, what am I doing? It very much it felt like more than that, because a brain injury patient, like, I have zero qualifications to navigate this in life. What am I supposed to do? I remember sitting at our primary care physician when we came back and being like, this appointment is I know we had to go, but in my mind it felt pointless because I'm just telling him the story of everything we've been through and where Michael is, bringing him up to speed. And then he's like, great, we'll see you in a year. And I'm kind of like, okay, that's how this goes. I mean, I imagine there are lots of scenarios of health crises that you feel this way, like you feel ill-equipped to care for them. And because Michael did not need any in-home nursing care, like there were no staff members coming in throughout the day, changing whatever they needed to change or taking care of him, which, praise, I didn't want that to be the case, but like at least you're seeing somebody so you kind of feel like you have some support. We weren't. Like, I was just driving him all around to therapy and hoping that I didn't get called into the cardiology office, hoping that his heart and his defibrillator were going to be fine. So I started getting a little bit like, hey, I think I might need to pursue outside help for the neuro field. And so there was a really random, but not random, it was like a God connection from the Shepherd Center. A woman there that met my father-in-law knew of a brain injury patient caseworker that lived in Virginia Beach, and her patients were all over the country. So said woman at Shepherd's connected said woman in Virginia Beach with me, and we planned to go and get together. And I went to her house and I sat down and she was like, just tell me your story. So I started telling her what happened to Michael, where he was, what the scenario is now. And she was like, wow, I think you need this, this, and this. She said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect you. As soon as you leave here, I'm going to pick up the phone and call this doctor, this renowned brain injury doctor who is in Richmond, Virginia. And we're going to see if we can get you guys in. And at that point in time, when I was sitting across from her table, like, I was desperate for help because it became apparent like, oh, there's no umbrella of care for Michael at this point. It's just kind of, we're just coasting, and I can pursue stuff as his spouse and caregiver, or I can just wait a year for the appointment to happen. Hearing her say that from across the table, like, I'm going to call this doctor and see if we can get you in, was like, just like breadcrumbs for this hungry, starving person. I was so grateful. And that's exactly what happened. I left and she called and got us into the office. So the office then called me. I took the first available appointment, and now Richmond is like a 2+ hour drive away, but I didn't care at this point. I was willing to go as far as we needed to go to find the right care and just to have a professional's eyes on him, or professionals who know the latest in the industry. Are there exploratory methods that are being tested in brain injury patients? I just wanted more eyes and ears on Michael because we were going to fight for healing, right? So we get this appointment with this doctor in Richmond and arrange, someone to take care of my kids because it's going to take the day for us to drive up there. Michael and I go do the car trip up to Richmond and begin his new patient assessment. And this assessment is 4.5 hours long. Oh my goodness, it was so long. But Michael he had to take all these assessments using an iPad, a lot of like spatial recognition things and pattern recognition. And there's a very specific name of this test, but it helps give them an idea of what processes in his brain are working, what aren't, just ranks them, you get the percentile back. And then There was like the physical exam and a lot of question and answers. And I was so hungry for this appointment. And it was evident from the moment we walked in the door at this doctor's office that we were in the right place. Like they really cared for their patients individually, and they cared about Michael. They took their time. They wanted as much information as possible, and they're like, "Hey, we're in this for the long run with you. We want him here. We want to partner with you in this journey." So I was like, "Great, this is wonderful." But also watching him answer these questions back and forth and do this assessment, I'm just like, wow, when you are tested on your capabilities, what's not working became so obvious. And it was just, like I was encouraged to be there, but also like, wow, we really do need to be here based on Michael's dear memory issues. There was one part of the assessment, it was the smell test. They had him sit blindfolded, and there were 3 items that they gave him to smell. So he had to guess what they were. And the first item was, it was Vicks vapor rub. And so she put it up at his nose, and he had to guess what it was. And it took him a while. He smelled it a lot and finally came up with like some type of herb or plant, which I think she gave that one to him because mint would have been close. And I mean, Vicks has a very strong mint smell to it. So the next smell was peanut butter. And so she put peanut butter in front of his nose. Have you ever thought about like what peanut butter smells like? I mean, I think it does have a very distinct smell, but Michael struggled with this one and finally came up with like chocolate maybe, which is so interesting. So was he struggling to identify the actual smell, or was he struggling to identify the word that he was trying to find? And he wanted to get peanut butter, but he couldn't grab that out of his memory, but he could grab chocolate. Or are smells truly different? Okay, so the third item was coffee. Now, Michael and Megan, we know coffee. Like you should be able to identify what coffee is. Michael couldn't do it. That one, he couldn't even come up with an answer for what coffee was or what it smelled like or anything close. Like he just didn't guess it, so that was so fascinating to me to see like, okay, our sense of smell is off too. So after they got the baseline of his assessment, they spent some time talking to me, which was really thoughtful. They sat across from me and said, I wanted to know how I was doing. They wanted to know what type of support I had. What type of support do the kids have? Is our family close by? What is our friend group like? What am I doing to get the help I need? And they go, Megan, brain injuries don't just happen to the patient. Brain injuries happen to the whole family. And hearing that spoken to me, and that was the first time that I had thought of it that way or heard it or had someone look me in the eye and tell me that it wasn't just Michael that is going through this, it was all of us, was so impactful. And I remember trying to fight to keep it together at that point, like to not break down in tears, which would have been fine. But I was trying to absorb everything they were saying and not be an emotional mess. However, to be told brain injuries happen to the entire family, and it just like clicked like, oh, you're totally right. They do. And I imagine that is the scenario that's true of many different medical issues in the family, whether you are dealing with a loved one who has MS or dementia or Alzheimer's, or you're caring for parents who are in decline, or cancer patients. Like all of those things aren't they, one person is experiencing it, but it's your whole family and it impacts all of you. And to be sure to give yourselves the proper care that you need is vital in the wholeness of your family unit. I just so appreciated that this office was not only taking care of Michael, but they were going to make sure that we were taken care of too. And yeah, just incredibly valuable and something that I really appreciated from them. Another point this doctor made was that they don't consider brain injury deficits permanent until about the 1 to 2 year mark. So I was like, okay, this is helpful. Now, big picture, pulling back, this doctor's office, they deal specifically with brain injury patients they had for decades. So their specialty was brain injury. So they get to see patients over time for the long run. They're not just acute care. They're not there in the beginning, which is what hospital systems are, is acute care, short-term, immediate care. This new doctor, they get to walk through patients for years and years and years. And to me, what they were saying had a lot more weight because they've seen all these cases, right? And so every brain injury patient is different and every healing scenario happens on their own. But they were saying we don't consider a deficit permanent until the 1 to 2 year mark. So at that time, I was like, okay, great. We're going to keep fighting for healing. That is encouraging to me. Now, as I'm recording this, we are at the 1.5 year mark. There are still deficits, and thinking back to that statement has me a little more like, oh, okay, let's keep healing. Let's keep praying for Michael's brain to reorganize and his memory to get stronger and his emotions to come back, and goodness. So that's just a little caveat right now. So it's a little scarier hearing that statistic now than it was back then. Back then I took encouragement from it. So yeah, that's good. I have a journal entry that I wrote shortly after that I just wanted to read here because it just kind of is a good picture of what it was feeling like for me. And this is probably the part that I am calling heavy, but I'm going to read that to us. Let's see. This is not a journal entry. Let me back up. Confusing myself here. This is straight off of our Caring Bridge website. I was updating everybody that July, and this was one of the prayer requests I had listed. I said, pray for my heart. Some days, a lot of days rather, I'm not doing well. I wrote this down last night while I was trying to understand my feelings. So I'll leave it here in hopes that the transparency gives a voice to specific ways to be praying over our whole family. So here it is. Staying in grief this long seems so unnatural. It's like a cloak I can't shake off. I don't want to wear it anymore, but I'm stuck. That feeling is awful. Being in grief, not wanting to be, not being able to take it off. That is the fight for joy, right? How do I still find joy while wearing this big, heavy cloak of grief? That is our battle, right? And what am I still grieving if Michael is right here next to me? I'm grieving everything, really. Every single thing reminds me that there was a before and now there is an after. Michael is not the same. All day long, I am reminded of this. Moment after moment, I am reminded that things are different. I didn't know we could experience so many insignificant little arrows of pain all day long, yet still remain standing. I've experienced 2 unexpected, tragic losses in my short lifetime. One in 2007 and another in 2021. Both times, Michael was there to hold me as I crumbled and fell apart. This time around, I'm on my own. I want desperately to lay my head on his chest and sob and have him hold me tight, but he won't. In this weird twilight zone, he's here, but he's not. And I could scream with frustration and despair and loneliness. I know I'm not the only one that feels this way. I write because I want to be relatable, but I recognize that this isn't the most relatable circumstance. I want to share in what I'm experiencing, but how can you know unless I try to give it some words? I think I was just justifying why I was writing so deeply. I do my best to fit into the normal pace of life that is moving with or without me. So I show up to the baseball games, do the grocery shopping, try to create family fun, and hopefully not ruin all 3 childhoods entrusted to my care. Which that's just a thought I have all the time. It's how do I not ruin my children's lives? How do I not ruin them because they see mommy grieving and they see a brand new daddy? How do I create family fun without traumatizing them further? These are my thoughts. But things are still very, very hard. So thank you all for your love and prayers. Don't stop. I need you. This is 5 months after Michael's accident, and I am still begging people, don't stop. I still need you. And so many days, I still want to scream that from the mountaintops. I need people. Don't stop praying. Don't stop coming in and helping in my life. I need you. Things, I feel like they should feel better now, but they don't. And therefore, I need help. I end with a liturgy from Every Moment Holy, which I've talked about on a previous podcast. And this is a liturgy for those who see no quick end to their grief. It's simple. Today, I am not learning how to get over my grief. I am learning to collapse into your arms, Jesus, and to let you carry me through it. So I hope that if you find yourself or somebody that you know in a place where there's no quick end to their grief, which unfortunately in this life, there are a lot of scenarios like that. I hope that you can share this with them, that today I'm not learning how to get over my grief. We don't have to get over it. Kind of like what I said last time. We can take the time to process and be sad. I'm learning to collapse into your arms, Jesus, and let you carry me through it. And that's something we have to learn. So again, I know this is heavy stuff, but this is just like a page out of my journal, right? Of what's going on. And thank you for tuning in and listening with me. I will be back next time with more of our story. See you, friends.